So yeah, welcome to this last Sunday of the practice period, which happens to be Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers, all the kids. All of us are from some father in some kind of way. Um, so I don't know if my father's here today. My mother's here representing. Oh, there he is. There he is. Nice. Hello, Pops. Thank you for everything. So I actually thought of a koan that is somewhat relevant. At least it kind of mentions um, childhood and parenthood. So I'll try to bend it and spin it to have to do with Father's Day as much as I can. But it's a koan from the Book of Equanimity, also known as the Shoyo Roku, which is the third full book that we do in our curriculum of koans for anyone that's interested in that. It's really hard to talk about, and we're so tired from session and everything. I'll do my best. Might be a little all over the place, and so just like every other Dharma talk, just try to, allow things to soak in as they may. Um, if we're looking for a clear plot line, sometimes sometimes that isn't so satisfying in a Dharma talk. Although for those who were here on Thursday, that was quite a plot that Reverend Gihan Uno provided for us. That was a very clear line there. So grateful for them coming. That was great. Okay, case 73 in the Book of Equanimity. A monk asked Sozan, when mourning clothes aren't worn, what then? Sozan replied, today I have fulfilled my filial piety. The monk asked, after fulfilling filial piety, then what? Sozan said, I would love to get stumbling drunk. Yeah. So let's break this down a little bit. And of course, the filial piety is kind of the duty of a child. So that's why this popped into my head on Father's Day. Um, so a monk goes to Sozan, and Sozan, we don't see him too much in our curriculum, but he is a successor of Tozan, who we do see a lot. And together, Tozan and Sozan are kind of credited with manifesting the start of the Soto school of Zen in China. And so, Sozan, Tozan, To, that's where we get that from. And of course, Sozan and Tozan are their Japanese names. I actually don't know their Chinese names, unfortunately. But a little bit of history for you. So a monk goes to Sozan and he asks, when mourning clothes aren't worn, what then? And this mourning is Mourn, right? So um, I don't know what the Chinese customs are, but I assume while you're mourning the loss of someone, you would wear a certain kind of robe or garment or something like that. Um, so that could mean mourning the loss of someone, but also think of all the things that we mourn. Um, we mourn the loss of a relationship. We mourn the loss of our youth. We mourn our kids leaving the nest. We mourn a job that maybe we have lost. So many things in this impermanent world that we constantly have to grieve. When we're sick, we mourn our health. And so this question, what about when we no longer wear the mourning clothes? What about when we get over it? Basically, when we're free of that attachment, when we have integrated, when we have healed. That's a nice word for it. What about when we've healed? What about when we've really fully let go?
Yeah, so he's for birdie at the second after an adventure at one. Good look here, back up the hill, and there's some breaks to his left.
Go ahead and mute that guy. Um, so yeah, what about when I've really become free of my attachments and healed from loss? Then what? Um, Maybe he's asking, how long should I mourn? How much is appropriate? And of course, this healing, this getting over, this letting go of our grief and our mourning, how do we do that? We fully mourn, we fully grieve, we get so intimate with our mourning. Um, that's such an important point. I think it's easy to interpret Buddhism and Zen as like a way of being neutral and never being affected and letting things wash off your back. And I just go with the flow and everything's all good. But I think it's quite the opposite. I think really dealing with mourning is feeling sadness and grief so deeply that you really just become one with it. And it stops becoming something happening to me. And it really just becomes fully integrated as part of me. So, yeah, what then? What do I do then? And Sozan replies, today I have fulfilled my filial piety. So, very, obvious that we don't know what he's done today, right? It could be first thing in the morning, he hasn't done anything. It could be a day where he just stayed in bed and slept all day. Could be a day where he prayed to his ancestors all day. We have no idea. It could be anything. It doesn't matter. And from that perspective, this filial piety, my duty as a child of my father, as a child of my teacher, as a child of my spiritual ancestors, my genetic ancestors, as a recipient of this land, this stolen land. Um, from that perspective, everything we do, no matter what, is a reflection of what we have inherited. So even getting stumbling drunk and yelling at your best friend, that is how you're manifesting your karma in that moment. And so even that, even the mistakes we make, is an expression of what we have inherited. Our karma, our genetic karma, our spiritual karma, our universal karma, all of the causes and effects that have manifested this moment. So that's one perspective. But then there's also a kind of more specific, kind of ordinary perspective of how do we honor our father, our parents, our teachers. Shishin, the writer and commentator on this book, says that he met his teacher's parents, Maizumi Roshi's parents in Japan once. And he asked, how can I, they like welcomed him and they were really nice to him. And he said, how can I repay them for their hospitality and, for handing this practice down? And apparently Maizumi Roshi said, just sit. Just sit. Continue this practice. Um, honor the land that we're on. Call your mom. Call your dad. It reminds me of another koan where the emperor calls the national teacher and he says, he was an older guy, the teacher. And so the emperor says, when you die, how should we honor you? And the national teacher says, make me a seamless monument, which of course has nothing to do with an actual monument. He was kind of being cheeky because back in the day, they would actually build these stupas or monuments or, buildings or something. But this seamless monument is the realization of no separation, no seams between us, no seams between anything. Realize this complete, whole oneness of everything in time and space. That's how you can fulfill your filial piety. So yeah, I think it's such a beautiful idea. What do we do once we've gotten rid of everything and we've healed from everything and we've worked with everything? Well, see your entire life as honoring your karma, all the causes and effects that have made you and your world what it is today. Your father, your mother, your teachers, your ancestors, everything. Um, and see how you are nothing but that, right? We want to believe that we're some kind of separate thing that, especially in America, this kind of independent, pull yourself up, um, individualism. It's so easy to think that we are just this bubble, this module that has to survive and fight to make itself the best it can be. But that's so sad to me because it's so clenched, it's so closed, when in actuality, we are just nothing but everything that has ever been. That's all we are. Um, and ironically, if I can totally throw a wrench in all of that, Shishin spends a lot of time in this book talking about how part of this practice is independence, um, being free of worrying what others think of me, um, being free of expectations that have been put on me, right? This made me think like filial piety. What if my parents, and this is not the case for me, but what if my parents, wanted me to be a doctor or else they disowned me? Or what if I turned out to, have a lifestyle that my parents completely disavow and have kicked me, totally disowned me? Um, what's my filial piety there? Can I honor even their ignorance, even their rejection, anyone's rejection of me? Can I still honor them as completely part of who I am, whether they like it or not? Can I have that acceptance and softness um, to see my life as duty to them? That was running through my head all yesterday. Not everyone knows I actually skipped out on a couple hours of session to go to the San Diego protest yesterday, the march, which was an interesting way to step out of session. But yeah, the whole time, just signs everywhere, fuck this and fuck that and hate them and he's the devil and blah, 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 which some of us resonate with that feeling. But how are even they, my parents and my teachers? How can I even be filially loyal to those who I disagree with and resent the most? Where's my filial piety there? That's a hard call, but I think worth it. I really think worth it. So yeah, today I have fulfilled my filial piety. So then the monk asked, okay, after fulfilling filial piety, then what? It's like when kids are like, why? Well, because that's what we do on Sundays. Why? Because it's the tradition. Why? Because so yeah, that's kind of this monk. What do I do when I've let go of everything and healed from everything? Well, see your life as a duty to everything that's given you what you are. Okay, and then what? And so Zan says, I would love to get stumbling drunk. So there's lots of different ways to see this. It could be actual intoxication. As Shishin says in his commentary, this can't be true, but he literally says, um, I'll just read his words. Every Japanese Zen master I've ever met loves to drink. That is not the case for me, but a lot of Zen folks I've met do like to drink. So yeah, enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Bring people together. My Zumi Roshi used to call alcohol wisdom water. And of course, there is every reason to believe that one can embody the positive aspects of drunkenness without alcohol. Uninhibited, free, connecting with people, honesty, having fun, dancing. I know tons of people who don't touch the stuff and really fully embody all of those things. So that's, I think more the point. How do we manifest healing? How do we manifest being a good child? Really appreciate your life. Really show up for people, right? Isn't that kind of this aspect of drunkenness? You can really be present with folks. Yeah, it's so sad that sometimes we need a substance or a certain condition to really be able to show up and look someone in the eye and speak our truth. So yeah, that's how we honor our fathers today. Appreciate the life that they gave us, exercise our independence, show gratitude for everything we've been given, whether we like what they gave us or not, opening up to the gratitude of all of that. And then, yeah, being free and having fun and spreading that joy, whether it's alcohol induced or not. I encourage everyone to explore the not part. But sometimes alcohol's there. Um, so that's all I'll say for now. I hope we all fulfill our filial piety today in whatever way we can. Um, and in the spirit of partying and getting stumbling drunk, everyone is invited to join for a kind of post practice period get together this evening. Anytime after 6 p.m., we'll be back here with the fire pit and we'll get some pizza and maybe a little drum circle or something. No alcohol on the premises, but or at least in the public areas. Um, but we will still have a drunken good time in some kind of way. So yeah, please come to that. Thank you all so much for such a great practice period. Oh, and I wanted to say that doing this practice period is definitely filial piety. 100%. I mean, this hunkering down for an extended period of time to just practice. I mean, I myself, as someone who lives here, like I've pretty much just been here for a month. A few hours here or there, maybe I go out, but and all of us have really, made that kind of commitment in some way. And that practice goes back literally to the time of the Buddha, when they would spend the monsoon season hunkering down in a cave or something and just practicing together. And so, yeah, what a beautiful way to honor our ancestors by continuing that tradition, that practice, that earnestness, that passion, um, and the fact that that passion still exists today, right? No one pulled anyone's arm or twisted anyone's arm to do this. We're all children of 21st century social media, movie, Hollywood culture, and we still make these freaking forms to sit together in silence. So thank you for that filial piety.